In this video, I want to give you a little bit more context and intuition as to why we compare mutually exclusive projects in the way we do. So in the example, we had a default option, which is what we were already locked into, that had this particular pattern of cash flows, where we had negative 250, negative 250, and then we received 650 upon the completion of the contract. The alternative we were considering would result in a $550 outflow in year one, and then a $650 year inflow in year two, and then it would be done. So each option right here, these individual cash flows, has some NPV. What I've done here in this column is actually calculated the NPV of those cash flows at different discount rates. It's not really important what those discount rates are or the range of them. This is just for example. Now, I also did this for the option, so this alternative. So this is the NPV for this set of cash flows. Now, what our decision is do we decide to switch? So is the switching a positive NPV decision? So in finance, everything's about incremental cash flows, about marginal cash flows. And so what we do is we compare the cash flow under one option to the cash flow under the other option. So the incremental cash flow in year one from switching is an extra 300,000 or 300 out the door in year one. But in year two, we're going to get an extra 900. That's the difference between the alternative and the default. So these incremental cash flows, which is the cash flows associated with the decision we're making, also have an NPV. And that's what this column is right here. So I plotted these particular numbers, and the blue line right here is the default. And you can see as the discount rate is increasing, the project becomes less positive NPV and actually turns negative NPV. The same thing with the alternative. It starts off as positive NPV, and then at a certain discount rate, it becomes negative NPV. But the decision we're making is all about the incremental cash flows. And so if we're in our default NPV, our default project, we actually lose some value. So it becomes less positive NPV if we switched. And you can see down here, which I've plotted the NPV of the switching decision. Yeah, it's an actual negative NPV project to switch, because we would be going from up here to down here. Now, let's look over here at a discount rate of 40%. Well, in this case, the alternative is, they're both negative NPV, but the alternative is less negative NPV. So it'd actually be a positive NPV project because the default has you down here at around negative 50, and then you would be somewhere, it looks like it's negative 43 if you switched. So you're less negative NPV by switching. This would be a positive NPV decision at that point, and a good decision. So the decision is all about the incremental cash flows, and that's why we take this difference here. We've got our default, which is what we're locked into. We've got our alternative, and then we look at the change in the cash flows, and that's what our decision is about.